Black and gold fans, college football fans, welcome in or welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, the college football channel where we honor, discuss, celebrate, and examine all things college football across the entire college football landscape. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. Holla at you, boy! And do you know what day it is? Do you happen to know what time it is? Like Flava Flav from Public Enemy used to say, you know what time it is. If you're a college football fanatic like myself and like you, the viewer, it's game time, game day. Woo! Ric Flair style. It's great to be back here with you on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Now, the channel would, yes, you don't have to necessarily be a fan of the black and gold of the Iowa Hawkeyes because, hey, nobody's perfect. I forgive you. But this is a channel for all college football fans, a gathering place, a neutral area, a site. This is friendly ground, holy ground, and you are safe here. Every college football fan from north to south, east to west, and everywhere in between is absolutely welcomed here. It's great to be back with you guys. I am so excited. Here it is, Thursday, the 31st of August, the last day of August. And what starts tonight? Tonight is the first day of 5 of a college football smorgasbord, a buffet, a plethora of college football from tonight all the way through Labor Day evening on Monday. So enjoy it. Football is officially back, and it's great to have it back. And before I say anything else, thank you for all that you do. Please, if you like what you see in here, subscribe, rate, like, share, comment. As I always ask for is I want you to be involved. This show is driven by you, the college football fanatic, so please let your voice be heard. I want to hear from you. I ask for, beg, plead, and welcome your participation. So please, if you choose to comment on anything that I say, whether you like, dislike, or if you just want to start a conversation, I promise you that I will get back to you individually sooner than later via those comments. It's such a great pleasure to once again be here with you, to share my love of all things college football with you, my fellow fans, fanatics, brothers, and sisters. So, what's on tap for this episode? This is my first week preview and pick'em episode that I will do every Thursday, some Wednesdays during this 2023 college football season, and I will break that down here in a little bit, what goes within my pick'em, my picks, and how I choose those games. And once again, though, getting back to this evening, a day that so many of us have waited 8-9 months for, that there are several matchups tonight. Several teams will get on the gridiron. There's really 3 games that really kind of I'm interested in watching. If I could watch them all, if I have the time and the opportunity and availability, trust me, I probably would. But the 3 games that I'm going to be tuning into, one that really has a lot of local fare and a lot of local interest. I do live currently in the Show Me state of Missouri, and tonight the South Dakota Coyotes from the FCS level, the Missouri Valley Conference, the Power of the Valley, they travel to nearby Columbia to Furrow Field to take on the Missouri Tigers this evening. Another big one going on out in Salt Lake City. Florida travels to number 14 Utah, a rematch of one of the biggest games from last year's opening week when Florida was able to upset and hold off highly ranked Utah. So we'll see what Utah can do if they want a little bit of revenge. Can Florida pull the upset this time around on the road? It seems like Utah quarterback Cam Rising will be unavailable. So definitely going to be a little bit more higher drama in that game. And the last one within my conference, up in the Twin Cities, we have a Big Ten conference game tonight. Nebraska travels to Minnesota to take on the Fighting Fleckers and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Cannot wait to watch these games tonight, guys. I'm so pumped. And as you can tell, I kind of broke out my game day here today. I'm donning my favorite Iowa player of all time. This is Tim Dwight. And what I do, I know I might look a little bit ridiculous to some of you. I'll make it even worse, but this is a homage, me paying respect to my father, rest his soul, that he was one of the two individuals who was most influential and responsible for my love of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Dad was the one who really presented everything Iowa athletics to me at a very, very young age. And currently my older brother, who lives just north of Iowa City, is the one who continues to keep that fire burning bright, being a huge fan just like myself. And this was Dad's hat. So every week during the Pick'em segment, I will be wearing this guy. That's why I break him out during every Thursday's episode. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to my preview and picks for week one. Now, how this breaks down. Each and every week, I'm going to pick 13 games. Why 13? I mean, could I chosen more or less? Absolutely. But to me, 13 could be a lucky or an unlucky number based on if you're one of those who is a little superstitious. We'll have to wait and see. But I like 13 because either at the end of the weekend, you're going to either have a winning record or a losing record. There is no, hey, I went 500. I don't like that. All right. So every week I'll pick 13 games, and most of those games are going to be the big games that all of you are aware of, but some of them will be some of the so-called off-the-radar games, because those games, and the ones that I pick, I believe they're going to have a major, major impact later on in the season when the dust clears, as far as seeing who the conference champions will be, bowl eligibility, and maybe even potential college football playoff ramifications. So it's my duty, it's my honor, my responsibility to get you in the know for all things college football. Now, within those 13 games, each and every week, I'm going to select 4 specialty games, and they will be the same format every week. I am always going to select one game, which will be my Academy game of the week, and that game will feature one of the 3 military academies, Army, Air Force, or Navy, as my way to say thank you and to salute the armed forces of this great nation, the men and women who have protected us and will continue to protect. The second of those 4, I will always choose a group of 5 matchup of the week, because remember, at the end of the season, the highest ranked champion of the group of 5, basically the non-Power 5 conferences, gets an automatic bowl bid to a New Year's 6. So I always like to choose my group of 5 matchup of the week, and I've got a great one here to open up week 1. Third, being the Hawkeye fan that I am, I will pick every Iowa game throughout the season. I'm sorry. I got to show love and give love where it's due. So I will pick my Hawkeyes every week as one of those 4. And the last game, every Thursday, I will always have and select a spotlight game of the week. And this week's spotlight game, you pretty much know which game that's going to detail. So that's it. Let's go ahead and get into it. And also what I'm looking to achieve at the end of the year, I'm looking to have a score of 70% or better. I'd like to be closer to 75% correct. That's really where I'd like to be. But I want to first and foremost get to 70% correct. That's the goal I'm setting for myself prior to bowl season. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into my favorite part, my favorite segment that I do each and every week between both episodes that I will start to do. That's right, now that the season has started, I'll be with you twice a week. I will have a preview and picks episode every Thursday, some Wednesdays, and my weekend review episode will be out either Monday or Tuesdays, so be looking for those. So let's go ahead and get into picks, because football is back. That's right. Woo, let's celebrate. All right. Now, before I go ahead and unveil my official picks to you, what I do like to do as well is every week I do like to give you a couple of games that definitely off the radar, but they could be games to where you're going to potentially see major upsets. These are my kind of super dogs, my big time underdog stories that I think, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but if it comes at the end of the day, Saturday or Sunday, or even in this case, Monday, that, hey, don't be surprised if these following teams pull major upsets during this first college football weekend. So let's go ahead and get into some of my underdog games that I definitely need to give a little bit of special preview and notoriety to. So let's go ahead and get into my super dogs. Here they are. So first game I would like to go ahead and talk about is Friday night. All right, tomorrow evening, Stanford, that's right, the Cardinal, they travel to Hawaii to take on the Rainbow Warriors, travel to the Big Island. And the thing is, guys, remember, Hawaii has already played one game. They did play week 0, and they played Vanderbilt to the wire from the mighty SEC. And in a way, that was a game that Miami could have won. I'm never going to say should have won, because there's no way of knowing, but that is the game that Hawaii could have won in Nashville last week against the Commodores. Hawaii is a 3.5 home underdog, so I definitely can see Hawaii knocking off Stanford, a Stanford team that I think is really going to struggle this week, but still to have a Mountain West Conference team upset a Power 5 team in the Pac-12, that would be an excellent story. But also, to add to it, as far as why I think this upset will happen, is because it is what kind of game there, Admiral Akbar? It's a trap. That's right, it definitely is. Because next week, Stanford will play at USC. So maybe they're looking ahead a little bit to that matchup with the mighty Trojans. So be on the lookout, Stanford. Next game on Saturday, NIU, the Northern Illinois Huskies. They bring back a lot of experience. They're very deep, very veteran and talented. They travel to Boston College, a team that really underperformed last season. They do have a very good running back. But I think if BC's not ready to play, definitely expect NIU to be there till the very end. NIU is an 8.5 point road underdog. So Boston College, be on the lookout for the mighty Huskies from DeKalb, Illinois. Next on Saturday, Fresno State. Mentioning dogs and bulldogs specifically. That's right, I do my own stunts here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Fresno State, the Bulldogs with Victor E. Dog, one of the best mascots in all the land. Fresno State travels to Purdue to take on the Boilermakers in West Lafayette. Now remember, this is a Fresno State team that won 10 games last year, okay? Now they did lose their stud quarterback, Jake Hayner, who was my player of the year last year at the Group of 5 level, but Fresno State comes in on the road as only a 3.5 point underdog. That's really due, I believe, just a home field advantage, at least perceived, for Purdue. So Purdue, be on the lookout for the Bulldogs. And my last game, I got a funny feeling about this one. All right, it could happen, but whew, I might be really close. I might be really off. Number 18, Oregon State. And if you remember from last year's season, I was high and very mighty and bullish on the Beavers of Oregon State. They leave Corvallis. This is transfer quarterback DJ Uyunglele's. That's right, it's a mouthful. It's a DJU's first game in an Oregon State uniform, and they travel to the Bay Area to take on the San Jose State Spartans. Now, the Spartans also played in week 0. They do have one game under their belt, and coaches will always tell you a team learns the most between weeks 1 and 2. San Jose State is a big home underdog, 16.5 points. But their offense is effective. They did put up, I think, 28 points against USC in week 0. So this offense can move the ball. So Oregon State better come out ready to play. Be on the lookout for the mighty Spartans of San Jose State. So those are my underdog games of the week. So be on the lookout for those. Please comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Now let's go ahead and move on to my official preview and picks segment for week 1 of the 2023 college football season. Now, the first game up of my 13. Colorado travels to number 17 TCU. Now, many storylines, in this game. I mean, this is the season debut of Coach Prime Time. That's right. This is the opening game for Coach Deion Sanders at the helm of the Colorado Buffaloes, who, remind you, only won one game last year. They traveled to TCU. And what can TCU do in their encore? Following not only a college football playoff berth last season, but also being runner-up in the national championship game. A ton of guys have left TCU. All right, so let's see I'm just interested to see what's going to happen. But quite frankly, guys, there's a reason why Colorado is a 3.5 is set. Their over-under win total is 3.5. Let's see what I think about this game. Overall, I'm just telling you right now, and I got a coworker, Brett, I tried to warn you, 3.5 wins for Colorado. That ain't going to happen. I think Colorado, under Coach Deion, this year at least, he's going to flame out. It's not going to be hyped up what it's supposed to be. But if he wins 2 or 3 games, I mean, that is progress. Following a year where you won one game, I think they're highly outmatched. I mean, outgunned, everything down in Fort Worth. I like TCU big in this game, so I'm rolling with the Horned Frogs. Next game is a big one, especially for me because I did pick them as one of my 4 college football playoff participants. I'm talking about Boise State. The Broncos travel to number 10 Washington and to take on one of my 4 Heisman Trophy finalists, quarterback Michael Penix. Big time expectations up there in Husky land. I think they will be a very good team. Let's see what I think about this game. Now, Boise State, very good team. They are going to be one of the 3 darlings that I've pegged from the group of 5. I think they will win the Mountain West Conference. I think they will win that conference going away, actually. So that's why this is a huge opportunity for Washington to get a victory, because I think for them to make the college football playoff, as I have predicted, I think having a big non-conference victory over a fellow conference champ is going to pay dividends for them. So in this game, I just think there's way too much Washington for Boise State. I love Michael Penix Jr. That offense, he's got weapons galore. Now, earlier this week, it was announced that their starting running back will miss the entire season due to a late camp injury. So that will potentially slow this offense down. But I think for this game anyway, way too much Washington. I'm taking the Huskies big time over the Broncos. Next game, number 3 on this week's list. Another one of my darlings from the group of 5. I'm talking about the UTSA Mimi, the Roadrunners. They travel to Houston to take on the Cougars. And there's a lot of storylines with this game as well. First of all, it's big time within the state of Texas as far as recruiting. But UTSA, guys, if you've never watched this team, definitely watch this game. I believe it's a primetime game, so it's going to be on at peak hours for us to view and watch Saturday night. But if you've never seen UTSA quarterback Frank Harris play, you better do it because you may not get a lot more chances. And UTSA also has 17 returning starters back. And Frank Harris is going to have, the entire wide receiver core comes back, the entire offensive line. This team is going to put up a lot of points. All right. Now, Houston, I think this is going to be Houston's first year at the Power 5 level. Welcome to Big Boy Football. This is their inaugural season as a member of the Big 12 Conference. I just think Houston and Coach Dana Holgorsen, who I think is a little bit on the hot seat down there in Houston, I think they're really limping in to Power 5 competition. So that's right. I'm picking the upset, guys. I like UTSA to get it done at Houston on Saturday. Go, Mimi, Roadrunners. That's my pick. Let me know what you think. 4th game on the list, the Battle of the Carolinas. This is where college football game day is going to be. I'm talking about number 21 North Carolina faces off with South Carolina in Charlotte at a neutral site. And I love the storyline for this game. You look at the quarterbacks, all right? You have Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback Drake May for North Carolina versus former Heisman Trophy candidate and probably front runner Spencer Rattler, quarterback for South Carolina, formerly the QB at Oklahoma. So Drake May last year put up great numbers. Their offense was all over the field, but gone is their offensive coordinator. At the end of the season, Spencer Rattler really kind of showed us what his potential could be in big-time wins at the end of the season against Tennessee and Clemson. So what do I think about this game? I think North Carolina's offense is better than South Carolina, but I do tend to kind of sway that South Carolina's defense and special teams is slightly better. This could be one of those good old ball games to where, quite frankly, the last team that has the ball is going to win. I think potentially defense could be optional, but I just give the nod to the Gamecocks. Go South Carolina. I'm taking South Carolina to beat their neighbor and rival to the north in this matchup. Next game, big time game here in Big Ten country. All right. Toledo travels to Illinois to take on the Fighting Illini and Champaign-Urbana. And this is why this is a big game. This is one of these games that I believe is flying under the radar as well. And also, I think it could be what kind of game there, Admiral Akbar?
It's a trap.
Thank you. And this is why this could be a trap game for the Fighting Illini. Next week, they're on the road Friday night at a much improved Kansas team that's going to just throw the ball all over the yard. So I think potentially Illinois could be looking ahead to that matchup with the Jayhawks. But they really need to be ready for this Toledo team, guys. Toledo is the defending MAC conference champions. They do have several returning starters back, including their stud quarterback, Daquan Finn, a guy who can tuck and run, who can chuck it over the field. So Illinois needs to come out ready to play, and they need to slow down that vaulted Toledo offense. So who do I think is going to ultimately win this game? I like Toledo to keep this close, probably for a full half, but I do believe when push comes to shove, I think just the strength and depth of the Fighting Illini will prove to be the difference. I do like Illinois in this game, and I do think they will pull away a little bit late to secure the victory. Next game up, love this game. And let me give you a little bit of a pop quiz here. Pop quiz hot shot. They're from the old movie Speed, which, you know what? I really think that a good majority of you watching these episodes, you don't get my quotes or my references to some of these old school movies or music, or my songs, the music groups. You just don't. Some of you probably don't know who Flava Flav was, who I opened up with at the beginning, or the movie Speed. You've never probably even heard of it. But a little pop quiz here, guys. If I was to ask you, what stadium or what team can claim to have the highest elevation football stadium in the nation? I think a lot of you would probably say maybe Colorado there at Boulder. That would be incorrect. Some of you might say stay in the same state and say, well, how about Air Force Academy and Colorado State there at elevation, right? Not Fort Collins. Now the city just escapes me there where this is, but it's not where Air Force plays, and it's not where Colorado State is either. Now, the next guess might be, well, how about the Utah Utes there in Salt Lake City? You would be incorrect as well. Actually, the highest elevation stadium is there in Laramie, Wyoming, where this week Texas Tech travels to Wyoming to take on the Cowboys. So we have a Big 12 versus Mountain West matchup. So what do I think about this game? I am very high and bullish on Texas Tech, guys. I said during my bold predictions episode that Texas Tech does have the potential to be this year's TCU. Now, when I say that, I don't mean to get to the college football playoff, but maybe to come out of nowhere and get into their conference's championship game. They do have the ability to be that team, all right? But this is going to be a tough game for them. I already mentioned the elevation and the altitude, but just like my favorite would say, for Texas Tech, it is potentially another.
It's a trap.
That's right, because next week, huge game for Texas Tech. They host Oregon from the Pac-12, so I definitely think their minds are going to be on the Fighting Ducks next week. So Texas Tech better be on the lookout. So who do I think wins this game? I just think Texas Tech has too much talent, too much depth. They have a lot of momentum, especially with that postseason victory in the Texas Bowl over Ole Miss and Coach Lane Kiffin. I like Texas Tech on the road to get this done. I think it will be a little bit of a struggle, but ultimately just too much offense for the Cowboys to contend with. I like the Red Raiders. Next game. Out on the West Coast, I picked Coastal Carolina from the Sun Belt. They travel to the Rose Bowl to take on the UCLA Bruins, who will be joining the Big Ten next season. So what do we know about this game? Now, Coastal Carolina, they do have to travel 3 time zones from Carolina all the way out to California to play this game. But still, they still have quarterback Grayson Mullet McCall, who I think this is like his 10th year in college. So they do have a very experienced quarterback, but no longer on their sideline is Coach Jamie Chadwell. He has moved on to be the head coach at Liberty with the departure of Hugh Freeze to Auburn. And UCLA, definitely going to be sort of a rebuild season for them. Gone is DTR. Dorian Thompson-Robinson off to the NFL. Now, home field advantage, I hate to say it. If you've watched these episodes, you know what I believe and feel about the Rose Bowl. It is a sanctuary. It's a monument. It's a holy ground, a temple for college football. But it'll only be about a quarter full. That's it. They continue to not draw good crowds there at UCLA games, so I think that will kind of level this matchup a little bit. So who do I think comes ahead between the Chanticleers and the Bruins? I just think because of the potential talent and depth and speed of what Chip Kelly usually gets there at UCLA, I think that's the difference. I do like the Bruins in this game, but I think it's going to be maybe a 2-score game. I expect this to be a very, very kind of push and pull kind of game throughout. But I am going to roll with the Bruins in this matchup. Next, we have a big-time conference game. This one occurs on Labor Day night, Monday. Number 9, Clemson travels to Duke in the, not just, like I said, the opener for both squads, but also an ACC conference matchup. High expectations for Clemson. I am very high on them. I'm very bullish on the Tigers this season. I think they will ultimately win the ACC conference and beat out Florida State for the crown. But here's the thing. This is not your father's or older brother's Duke squad, okay? This Duke team is much improved. They won 9 games last year, guys. New coach Mike Elko, that was his first season last year. What can he do in his encore season? They do have 17 starters back due to the Blue Devils, including quarterback Riley Leonard. Now, could I be picking Duke to win? Well, let's think about this for a second. This is going to be a big-time game. And I do think it's quite possible that Duke could win this game, but I just can't pick it, guys. I mean, I just can't. They just haven't shown me enough, but they definitely are a team that is on the rise, that is ascending, are the Duke Blue Devils. I just think Clemson, they're going to look much better under quarterback Cade Klubnik. They're going to be physical on both lines of scrimmage. Will Shipley's back at running back. Their defense, we know, is going to be tenacious. I just think the Tigers are going to be too much for the Blue Devils, even there on the road against Duke. So I'm rolling with the Clemson Tigers in that game, but very close, much closer than the experts believe. Now, guys, it's time to move on to my 4 spotlight games, my 4 specialty games of week 1. As I mentioned, the very first one up will be the Academy game of the week. And once again, to all of you current active or former military men and women, servicemen, servicewomen, I salute you and thank you for your service and all you've done and will continue to do for this great nation. I went with Army this week. So this week, Army opens up at the University of Louisiana Monroe squad. Quite honestly, I don't know much about this game. I mean, I do know about the triple option of Army, but they have said, Coach Monken has said he is going to be a little bit a little heavier for passing this season, which means maybe they might throw the ball maybe 10 times max a game. We'll have to wait and see what air it out more means via Army. So I know about their triple option. ULM, I don't know much about them, other than they are the team that once upon a time did upset Coach Nick Saban in Alabama. All right, that's all I really know about ULM, quite frankly. No disrespect to the ULM alums, fans, or students right now watching. But triple option, even though ULM has had all off seasons prepare for it, I don't think they have the athletes or the roster to deal with it. I like Army to get this done on the road. Go Black Knights. Army gets the victory in this game. Now, next specialty game is my non-Power 5 matchup of the season. And this is, seriously, this might be the game of the week. I know that it's not, because my spotlight game of the week, which is what I'll get to here in a little bit, that is the game of opening weekend. But this game, as far as my non-Power 5, my Group of 5 matchup of the week, big time. I'm talking about the University of South Alabama, the Jaguars. They travel to Tulane to take on, number 24, Tulane. I got to give credit where credit is due. They travel to number 24 Tulane to take on the Green Wave. And if you remember, Tulane was last year's darling from the group of five. They advanced to, I believe it was the Cotton Bowl, and they upset mighty USC and Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams at quarterback. So everybody this year is so high on Tulane. Now, their stud quarterback, Michael Pratt, does return. The guy can ball out. But do I think that's going to be enough? Now, I love both of these squads, guys. I am. But hey, if you've watched episodes in the past, you know me. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And I am so high on the South Alabama Jaguars this year. This is the third team of the group of five that I am so high on, with Boise State and UTSA. I actually did pick, during my bold predictions episode, I did pick USA, South Alabama to represent the group of five this year and get to the New Year's Six bowl game. I think they show up and show out on national television, primetime kick. I'm rolling with the Jaguars of USA to pull the upset at Tulane. Give me the Jaguars to get it done. That's right. Can't wait for this game. That is the one game, guys, that on Saturday, other than, of course, watching my Hawkeyes, that's the one game I've told myself I have to watch. I think it's going to be that good of a game. All right? And to this point, if you like what you hear, please let your voice be heard. Subscribe, comment, like, share, rate, get involved. Next up for my specialty games is my Hawkeye pick of the week. This week, Utah State, the Aggies, yes, the other Aggies, not of Texas A&M or New Mexico State. They travel to Iowa City to take on our Iowa Hawkeyes. So this game, the real big storyline right now is the availability of transfer quarterback Cade McNamara. If you recall, about 2.5 weeks ago, he went out during the last open scrimmage of the season, the Kids' Day at Kinnick, during a little rollout play, non-contact issue, went down on the ground and took himself out. Now, Cade McNamara is coming off of a off-season knee surgery. That is ultimately why he lost his job at Michigan, and plus the rise of quarterback J.J. McCarthy. So a lot of expectations with our Iowa squad, guys, but really only with Cade McNamara out there as the field general at quarterback. So initially he was ruled questionable, and then he was ruled as likely, and then he was ruled as, yep, absolute, and then they took it back a little bit and said likely, and now it's questionable, okay? And here we are, 2 days away from that game. So that's the big story right now. Is Cade McNamara available, and is he going to play? And I said this during my Hawkeye preview episode, my last episode, which all of you Hawkeye fans or Big Ten West fans specifically, feel free to check out that episode. A lot of information in that guy. I did say that, hey, if Cade McNamara is not ready, do not put him on the field. Iowa should not need, once again, should not need Cade McNamara in this matchup, all right? So I'm going to assume he's not going to play, all right? So the Aggies, they come into Iowa. I think Iowa is going to be much better, deeper, more physical on the lines of scrimmage. And I really am going to be paying attention to that specific of this game. How much better is that offensive line? That unit is a year older. They have 4 starters back. Will they be able to pass protect whoever's the quarterback for Iowa come Saturday afternoon? Also, can they open up running lanes for Caleb Johnson and the rest of the Iowa running backs? I'm rolling with Iowa, with or without Cade McNamara. And a little bonus pick here. I do believe they will eclipse the 25 points. That is, remember, what is deemed to be in OC Brian Ferentz's new contract. that they must average 25 points a game. I think they will go over that total with or without Cade McNamara. Give me the Hawkeyes in this game. All right, party people. Now we've reached the last pick of the week. This is my spotlight game of the week, and I cannot wait to see this on Sunday night. We have a top 8 matchup. Number 5, LSU, travels to take on number 8, Florida State at a neutral site in Orlando, Florida. A rematch of last year's game during opening weekend, a game that Florida State won due to a blocked extra point basically as time expired. So what a game it was, and I cannot wait to watch this rematch. I think both teams are going to be better this season than last. So let's get to it. Now, LSU, if you recall, I did pick them as one of my 4 college football playoff participants. I do have quarterback Jaden, excuse me. Once again, here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, I don't do any edits. I don't do any retakes. I just click, record, and send. That I've got quarterback Jaden Daniels for LSU being one of my 4 Heisman Trophy finalists as well. Number 8, Florida State. Buku expectations for this team. They are deep, they're talented, they're experienced, but I still believe they are so pencil thin at the quarterback position. If quarterback Jordan Travis goes out or misses any legit time, this is a team that very easily could go from pretenders to a contender overnight. All right? This will be a very, very hard-fought game. I expect it's going to be very physical. Premiums will be turnovers and ball control. And I think who plays the cleanest, as always, will have the advantage, and whose special teams will perform at a higher level. I just think when push comes to shove, guys, it's going to be LSU. And this will be the big non-conference victory that I think they are going to need to get into the college football playoff as well. So give me the Tigers from Baton Rouge to get it done against Florida State on the road at neutral site Orlando. All right, some neutral site there. But that's it for this week's previews and picks, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a great time. And if your squad takes the field tonight or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, once again, we get 5 straight days of college football. Best of luck to them and to you. I cannot believe that football is back. So enjoy it, savor it, have a great time with it. And also enjoy your long holiday weekend. Enjoy your time off from work or school. Remember to make time for those things and people that matter the most. So next week, guys, look for me on Tuesday. Usually my weekend review episode would come out Mondays, but because of the holiday, it'll be coming to you Tuesday afternoon. So be on the lookout for that, guy. So next week, Tuesday, I will have kind of a review of everything that happened during opening week of the 2023 college football season. So until then, guys, enjoy the football. Hallelujah. Please subscribe, click, share, comment, get involved. I can't wait to hear from you. So until then, enjoy, and I'll see you next week on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Take care. Bye-bye.